All right, so I just had an amazing giant margarita at a Mexican restaurant, and I threw up a random AMA on Twitter, and people were asking me questions about vinyl records. And I figured I'd do a really quick vinyl 101 for all of those of you who are curious. All right, so there are two main formats of vinyl records: the 12-inch disc and the 7-inch disc. The 12-inch LP disc is by far the most common type. This is what is most commonly referred to as an album. So this one I literally just bought and just got it in the mail today. This is for a band I saw on Saturday night called Dirty Honey. They're amazing. Definitely check them out. But a 12-inch LP like this are commonly referred to as 33s because they rotate on the turntable at 33 and a third rotations per minute. So normally a record comes in a record jacket like this, which always has some cool photos and information about it on it. And then you slide it out, and inside of the record jacket is the record sleeve, which usually has a bunch of other cool artwork on it and very often lyrics or other cool information. That's why I love physical media, is because this is the kind of stuff you don't get when you play music on Spotify. And inside of the record sleeve, I haven't even opened this yet. So I don't even know. This is the first time I've seen this. This is the record. A standard LP record, and they usually come out of the package very staticky, which is actually awful for playing. But a standard LP is 12 inches. It's made of vinyl, so it's actually like very flexible. That was intentionally made so that they don't break easily. Notice how I'm holding it by the sides. You don't want to put your fingers all over it because smudges damage records, and you'll start to hear it in the playback if you do. A record like this, like I mentioned, is played at 33 and a third rotations per minute. Roughly about 20 minutes of music on each side at the max. Sometimes albums aren't that long, so you'll notice, like, especially for this album here, there's quite a bit of empty space here. So this doesn't completely fill up the 20 minutes on each side. And what's really cool, what I always find really cool, especially people who have never seen records before, if you notice, these are the grooves, and for a record to play, it's kind of mind-boggling. A needle gets dragged through these tiny grooves, and that sound is the sound of the music. So like, these records are carved with very, very tiny, tiny grooves, and when the needle glides across it, it literally produces the sound of the music, amplified by an electrical signal, of course. So each record has two sides: side A, side B. Side A is the first side, obviously. And like I said, it usually contains about 20 minutes of music on each side. So a single vinyl record will top out at about 40 to 45 minutes of music but like I mentioned, they don't all have to be that long. And if an album is longer than that, then it'll come with two of these. So you'll have four sides. 1, 2, you flip it once, then you get the other one, then flip it twice. So this is the most common record format. The other format is this. People refer to these as singles. They're 7-inch records, or the most common term for them is 45s. And the reason that they're referred to as 45s is because they spin at 45 rotations per minute. Interestingly, these records usually only have 2 songs on them, 1 song on each side spinning at 45 rotations per minute. It plays for about 3 or 4 minutes, I would say. See, this is the single of Van Halen's Panama, very, very classic. And you've probably heard the term B-sides before. Like, people will talk about, oh, these are B-sides, meaning usually that they're like lesser known songs by the band. The reason for that is because when singles used to be sold like this, and still sometimes are, the main side, the A side, was the main song that was being sold. So this is Van Halen's Panama. And if you notice, On the A side of this record, it's Van Halen's Panama. But the B side was usually a lesser known song, either a lesser known song from the same album or like a very more obscure song by the band recorded specifically for this format. The B side of this is Drop Dead Legs, which is also a track off of Van Halen's 1984 album. So real quick, let's jump over to the turntable and I'll show you how to spin them. All right, we are over here at my turntable. So you notice this is my very basic, not too fancy turntable connected to a pair of bookshelf speakers over here. And we're gonna play my brand new Dirty Honey album that I haven't even played yet. So we're gonna put it right here on the table. Bam. And one thing, like I had mentioned before, is because this is a 33, it needs to be played at 33 rotations per minute. So if you notice over here, there's the speed control. And this speed control is binary. So basically, if the button is out, it spins at 33 and a third rotations per minute. If the button is in, it spins at 45 rotations per minute. So because we know this is a 33 disc, we play it at 33 rotations per minute. You'll definitely know if you play it at the wrong speed, because if you play a 33 at 45, it's going to sound like a bunch of chipmunks singing. And if you play a 45 at 33, it's going to sound like a deep, gravelly, bassy voice. It's really weird. But anyway, so yeah. This is the disc, and now we're gonna raise the record, the arm, which has the stylus at the end of it. And the stylus is just a little tiny needle. I don't know if you can even see it, that sticks out of the bottom. And we're gonna move that over the record. And the record's gonna start spinning because it just knows based on the arm position. And then I'm gonna lower the stylus onto the record, and if I have it positioned right, which I think I do, it's gonna fall into the groove. Oh, I actually have to turn the speakers on too. It's gonna fall into the groove of the record. Yeah. What's really cool about this is, not joking, the sound coming off the record is literally coming from the stylus scraping the grooves of the record. And if you turn off the speakers, I don't know how well you'll be able to hear this on my recording, but can you hear that sound? You can actually hear the music even with no amplification. But once you amplify it, obviously, it sounds like real music. So there we go. That was my Vinyl 101. I hope you all learned a thing or two and listen to some good music.